Hey friends, it's Kim, your mental health nurse practitioner, here to do another weekly video. I would like to start by talking about goals because I set a goal and I failed. So, my goal at the beginning of the year was to utilize the Upward Spiral card deck. It's got 52 cards, and I wanted to make one video a week addressing one card a week this year. I did my first video on January 1st, and I've tried to do a video every week. So last week, I didn't get my video done. I have reasons. I have excuses. I think those reasons are good, but nonetheless, I failed. And I'm talking about this not so much because I think that missing this goal is that big of a deal, because it's not. I mean, there's like, what, 5 people watching these videos. So, nobody's sitting there on pins and needles waiting for my next video. And I know the world is not going to end or anything like that for me not doing it. It's not a big thing. We did talk a little bit about goal setting in some of the previous videos, and that when we set goals and we meet those goals, then we do get a little boost of dopamine and good feeling chemicals in our body. We have a sense of accomplishment. So what happens when we set goals and we don't meet them? We feel disappointment. We feel disappointment in ourselves. I feel like, oh man, I couldn't do it. Do we feel a little bit like maybe a failure sometimes, or like, I set that goal and I couldn't do it. And then we can get down on ourselves and we can start beating ourselves up. So I'm talking about my failure here, not because I think it's a really big deal, but sometimes we do, sometimes we aim high, sometimes we have big goals, and sometimes we don't meet those goals. And what do? Well, we have to regroup. We have to think about what what our objective is. How important is this goal to us? Is this something that we want to do? Is this something that we need to do? Was it important? Is this something that we can let go of, or is this something we need to keep pushing forward with? Because if it's important and it's something we really want to do, then we need to just pick up, regroup, and start over again. Just hop back on that horse. So anyway, I'm not giving up, because I would really like to, at some point next year, say I have a collection of 52 videos talking about the cards in the Upward Spiral deck. I would like to have that in my video library. So I would like to know that I accomplished it. And at some point at the end of next year, I would also like for all of those videos to be produced this year. Maybe at least one of them is going to be a little bit late, but we'll get her done. So anyway, again, the Upward Spiral deck, I will link to the deck as well as the book and the workbook in the description. I highly recommend this if you're suffering from depression or anxiety. The information and the tools in this book and the workbook they're indispensable. They're awesome. Just little bits and things that we can do and we can all do easily. So the card deck, like I said, I was looking at these cards one at a time. The card deck has action cards, and then each action card has one little thing that we can do. So each week so far, I've talked about an action card and one little thing that we can do. And those little things that we can do help to reverse the spiral of depression, because we know depression can be a downward spiral. So each one of these little things starts to reverse that spiral and helps you to move upward. The deck also has awareness cards, which I have not done an awareness card yet, but the card for this week is an awareness card. And the awareness cards basically just have educational material in them. So that's good too. So these aren't actions, so we don't have to actually do any, excuse my lights. one of the things I am doing, one of the things that I was busy with this past week is moving my office. So in future videos, you will see somewhat of a different background. Anyway, and I'm making wall hangings too. So anyway, so this awareness card, it talks about the chemistry of depression. Excuse me. It says depression and anxiety are not simple chemical imbalances, but they involve the dynamic interaction of many brain chemicals. Here's a brief list of some key chemicals and their effects. So one of them is dopamine. When you think of dopamine, you should think of enjoyment. When we boost the dopamine in our brains, we feel a boost of pleasure, of enjoyment, and that's a very important chemical. The next chemical, the next neurotransmitter is oxytocin. Oxytocin is involved in feelings of love, trust. Oxytocin is involved in feelings of love and trust and the reduction of stress. The next one is serotonin. Serotonin is involved in willpower and emotion regulation. The next one is endorphins. Endorphins help to reduce pain. And then the last one is sleep. And then the last one is melatonin. And I did actually talk about melatonin in the last couple of videos when we talked about sleep. So melatonin is involved in sleep. And melatonin is a chemical that our bodies make. So that's an important one. So we've got dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, and melatonin. These are chemicals. If sometimes we utilize antidepressant or mood stabilizing medications or sleep medications, and these are some of the chemicals that are involved with those medications to help decrease depression or stabilize your mood. But also, these are some of the chemicals that we can have an impact on ourselves with some of the behaviors that we do, or some of the actions that we take, some of the habits that we form, some of the words that we say to ourselves. These are things that, self-care, taking care of our bodies, eating healthy, getting good sleep. These are all things that are involved in helping to keep this chemistry. These are all things that are involved in our mood. I am just saying the same thing over and over again. I could write myself a script, but I did not write myself a script. So just know that these are chemicals that we do sometimes work with when we're prescribing psychotropic medications, but they are also chemicals that we can impact and affect in our bodies when we take certain actions, when we take care of ourselves, when we love ourselves, when we get exercise, when we eat well, when we sleep well, when we form good habits. Those are all things. So each one of these cards, each one of the action cards that I discuss each week, each serve to boost one of these chemicals. So that's it. That's the end of this video. Thank you for bearing with me, and please forgive me for being a week late with this one. Okay, that's all I got to say. Namaste, my friends.